Hey family, thanks for tuning in to the Black America Cares Nonprofit Showcase. This show is about organizations who are making a difference in people's lives. There are literally thousands, if not millions, of nonprofits that offer all kinds of services to our communities that many know nothing about. But we're here to change that. How? You'll have to listen to find out. Be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any episodes, and note that we are the originator of this type of information. There are plenty of platforms out there that share about all kinds of information, but nothing compares to what we're doing through this show. You get the info you need so you can get the help you need so you can live your best life. Are you ready? All right, let's go. In today's podcast, we'll be speaking with Darlene Lewis, the founder of Lewis Burnett Employment Finders. It's a nonprofit that's dedicated to helping former inmates find jobs. It prepares them for interviews, it places them with local businesses, and she advocates for them in the court. Through her organization, she's been able to help thousands of men and women. If you're interested in learning more, stay tuned. Hello, Miss Darlene Lewis. How are you
I'm
today?
great. Thank you so very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, I read that you are the founder, as I said in the introduction, of the Employment Finders nonprofit organization. It's dedicated to helping former inmates find jobs. You prepare them for interviews. You place them with local businesses, and you even advocate for them in court.
Yes, that is correct.
Can you tell us through your own words about your organization, how you got started and why you started it?
Of course, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Louis Burnett started back in 1987. It's been a long time. We started doing Louis Burnett to basically help young people help themselves. At the time, we was not working with felonies. What we started out doing was catching the young people who are coming out of graduation, who are graduating from high school and still are not able to fill out a proper application. Excuse me. That's how we started. Then as we went on with that, my son got in some trouble and he ended up going to prison. And when my son went to prison, when he got out, it was next to impossible for him to get a job. So I started working with him on helping him find some employment. And he told his friends, and his friends told their friends. And it became a huge, really huge business where there were so many out there who were seeking employment and having such a difficult time because they did have a felony in their background. So I focused on them at the time because once they got out of prison, they were set up for failure. They could not find a job. They could not get a house. They could not get any type of benefits. They basically was put back in the streets to do what they knew to do to survive. So I started working with them. One morning I had 20. The next morning I had 40. Before the weeks was out, there was hundreds of individuals coming through my doors looking for employment. Now we are still working out of my home. When I first started doing this, I was basically training them on what it took to get a job. When I started calling the employers, I would ask them, what is it that stopped an individual from getting in the door? And most of them told me the application process. So we see that before we see them. So that application has to tell me or whoever is doing the application that I want to talk to that particular person. Then he showed me a few applications and the mess they made. He said, now this, I'm not going to consider this person. This person may be capable for doing the job, but look at the paperwork. It was incomplete. It was messy. He had scratched out through it. He didn't answer the questions directly. He said, I'm looking for somebody, I'm looking for an application where if I say what position are you applying for, it tells me directly and not say any. If I ask them when can they start and they say ASAP, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, I can start Monday the 13th or whatever of the week. So after getting all that information from the employers, then I brought the individuals in to teach that class. And I call it pre-employment training.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, it's not necessarily because they have this record, it's because of the poor way that the application is completed and submitted to the employer.
Correctly. Now the background has a lot to do with it, but you have to speak for yourself. That background is going to play a part in it, but if you have done everything else correctly, then they will consider you with the background. Now, a lot of the big companies will not hire you if you have a felony in your background. And reason being because they can't insure you, they can't bond you, or whatever it might be. But when the government started giving the money to bond people with a felony background, that made a huge difference. Because when I went to sell that person, I let them know that there's money out there for this and for that. You know, if you would consider hiring that particular person. One of the basic things
Mm-hmm.
is getting a person hired with a felony background is touching the right person when you talk to the particular company. Because
Okay.
in all of our lives, there's been someone who have made a mistake. There's somebody out there
Exactly.
in our families who has either went to prison or end up with the background. So when you're talking to them, you just have to let them know. When I'm talking to them, I let them know that we all made mistakes. A lot of us didn't get caught, and a lot of us did. And when I can look at that person when I'm talking to him, I can see him thinking, yeah, I made a few. And I'll ask them if they would consider just let me put one person in their company at a time. And then when they put that one in there, if that one person is good, then we will also talk about, bringing in more. So I had a lot of success in that
Mm-hmm.
and getting
Mm-hmm.
companies to be able to say, okay. And when I did that, it just blew up from there. There's a lot of, news articles out there, a lot of television stations, they came and interviewed me. And then eventually I put it in the office and we went from there.
Okay. Yeah, I read some place where you were able to eventually get an office through the help of the community.
That is correct. Uh,
And I think,
the community, the community saw the good work that we were doing at Louis Burnett, and that I was bound and determined to continue to help folks. So they started to kick in. They gave me furniture for the office. They helped me financially to pay for it. They stood by me because everybody that I put to work was less taxes they had to pay. Because what we don't think about is that individuals in prison, yes, but we're paying for them to be there. Because prison is more of a money thing than it is anything. Because they get paid according to the amount of people that's in that bed. So, yeah, the community stood behind me and they helped me to get the office going, to continue to work with individuals. And I was doing like 900 to 1,000 people a year. And
That's
the
amazing.
probation and parole and the judges and all that, they saw the good work and they started to back me as well. Probation officers were referring these individuals to me that they didn't want to send back to prison. So they saw that we was doing such a wonderful job, so they stood behind us. But that don't last too long because people get comfortable that you are doing all the work, and yeah, they gotta keep, but they don't. The backing stops after a while.
So are you saying that you don't there's no contracts, there's no grant money, you don't get any funding to help you with this endeavor?
No, not at not at present. I've had contracts with the city when the city decided that they wanted to do a reentry program. Of course, they came to me because I had been doing it for so long, and they knew I had good ideas. So I took up a contract with them. I've had some federal monies, all of that. But the thing with that is there's stipulations to all of it. With the contract with the city, you can only work with certain people. You can't help everybody. See, and that's what I'm all about. If I can help you, then I want to help you. I don't care where you live. If you can get to me and ask me for that assistance, then I want to try and help you. But with the city money and other monies, they want to tell you who you can and who you cannot help. And that makes it very, very difficult for, say, individuals that's coming from other parts of town,
Mm-hmm.
or that individual may be coming from another zip code, and they say you can't help that person in this zip code. It has to be in this little circle of areas. Well, my program is a ministry first and foremost, and there's no way
Mm-hmm.
God say you can only help this amount of people. You have those that you can. So I didn't I did not want to do that. I wanted to be able to assist anyone that came in and not have to ask them what zip code do you stay in. So I kindly bowed out of that contract.
Okay. Um, I also read that at one point you had some challenges with your health, but in spite of that, you kept going. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yes, I had a stroke and I was dealing with some other problems as I was going through what I was going through. I I prayed about it and I turned it all over to God because He has the final answer. And this is His ministry, it's not mine. I do the work, but it's not my ministry, it's God's ministry. So He brought everything, everything. I remember when I had my stroke and I was not able to walk, I was in a wheelchair. And the part about that I remember because my granddaughters was graduating from school. They had went to Job Corps and they was graduating. And I'm very close to my granddaughters. So I wanted to be there for them to let them know that I support them. But I couldn't, they was graduating from another state. So I had to have somebody take me there and I had to be rolled in there in a wheelchair. I'll never forget that. But the moment was meant so much to me because they had worked at this so hard and they was graduating. And one of my granddaughters said, Grandma, I'm doing this because of you. You have done so much for so many. And when she graduated, it meant so much to me. And it was like maybe a month or two later, I was able to get up out of that wheelchair and walk. And I've been walking ever since. So yes, I've had a lot of problems doing my ministry, but I never gave up. I
That's
never gave up. And that's what I tell
and
my individuals when they are looking for work and they got a background and they go knock at this door, and someone tells them no, don't give up. Because there's going to be a lot of no's out there, but you're going to get that final answer. It's going to be a yes. So you just keep on pushing forward until you get where you're trying to go. You never let anything or anybody change you. Just keep going.
That really speaks a lot to the passion. I can literally hear the passion in your voice about how strongly you feel about what you're doing and helping the community this way. Um, could you elaborate a little bit more on the overall services that you provide and what are the requirements, if any,
Well,
for an individual?
there's actually very little requirements that they have to have. Just show up and be sincere that they're wanting to do something with their lives. Now, what we do here, first thing you do when you come in the office is we set you down and we do a one-on-one. We want to know what's on your mind, what you're doing, what you're looking for, and how long you've been out there looking. We talk to you and we write all that information down because that's going to be uh, very good information for us to go back and look at when we start searching for you a job. Then we're going to set you up for what we call a pre-employment class, what I was telling you about earlier. Everyone, that's one requirement. Everyone has to attend that class. That class is going to help them know what the employer is looking for. Then we're going to have probably someone from HR in that class to talk to them about what they're looking for. Then after that, we're going to send them out on job interviews. And we're going to continue to send them until they get a job. Now, if they refer to us from the court system and they have to have community service, well, they can do that there too. If they have to have a class like anger management, domestic violence, parenting, drug and alcohol, we provide that at no charge. We will help them to get where they are trying to go, and we do it for free. Because if you're searching for a job, you don't have money to pay for these mandatory classes you have to have. And each one of those classes costs money. The thing with Louis Burnett is that we're trying to help you to succeed in life. We want you to go where you're trying to go. We do not want to stick something there that's going to cause you to fall backwards. We get individuals that has weeks to find a job before they are sent back to prison, especially those that have felonies. If they come out to federal prison, you have a certain amount of time to get a job or you go back. And they will send them to us when they got weeks left. Well, go see Miss Lewis. She's pretty good in helping people get a job. That person coming to me, he's stressed out to the max. So the first thing I have to do is get him calm enough to do an interview. You got to bring him down and let him know that, this is going to happen. Just believe God. It's going to happen. We're going to find you something. If it's flipping burgers at McDonald's, it's a job. And it'll keep you from going back to prison. So the stress level in dealing with guys and young ladies who's coming out of prison is high because they feel like they don't have a chance. They've served their time, but they're still locked up in a sense because we have not released those bondages to say you can go out and get a job, you can get some benefits, you can do this. You can't even find a house. So when they come out of prison, I basically think they're set up to fail unless they can find some agency that's willing to spend some time with them.
So they don't have any. I think if you have certain records, you can't even qualify for programs like Section 8. And because if you're working at McDonald's, then you can't typically afford rent most of the
That is
time.
correct.
And so they can't qualify for any housing assistance either because of the
No, they
background,
can't.
correct?
Because of their background, they don't qualify for Section 8, don't qualify for public housing because of their background. So it's very, very difficult. That's why I say they set up for failure, because every door is going to close. And if that's not a strong-minded person, they're going to give up. And that's what we're there for, to help them to where they don't give up. We've got a relationship with different housing apartment complexes with got people who rent houses. I have a relationship with some of those folks that I can call them and say, I have an individual that's looking for a place, and he or she has a felony background, and we're trying to help them get in a house or an apartment. Most of the time it's an apartment, and we can work through that. So that's why
That's excellent.
so many individuals come to me, because we are able to help them help themselves. And that is our motto. We offer them a hand up, not a hand out. Because most of the places they go to, like Goodwill, and I'll just mention them, and all these other places, they're going to take care of you for that day. But what happens tomorrow? And the next day, and the next day. That's why my focus is not to give you something that's going to be okay for today. I want to give you something that you can use for the rest of the term. I give you a job so you can take care of yourself, pay your own bills, and feel good about yourself.
Miss Lewis, where exactly are you located? And do you expand beyond other areas, like in other states?
Right now, I'm located in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to get office space again here. But we will work with you regardless to what state you're in.
So you're back doing this out of your home again?
At the present time, yes, but that
Wow.
can't, they're not going to be as lenient with it
Hmm.
as they were back in '87. Um, I work mostly out of the library, where you can use their rooms to teach your classes, use their rooms. I take the applications out of my house. So if an individual can come in, I'm in a big house. If they can come in and fill out an application and so forth, and then I can set them up, and they can meet me at the library, and we can go over the processes that we need to go over. But that's where we at right now, working hard on the office space. They're working very, very hard, looking for individuals who are willing to assist us in doing what we need to do, that's willing to assist, because it doesn't matter what state you're in. If you see something about Lewis Burnett and you want to talk to someone there, then they can make a phone call, and we will try to assist you regardless to where you are. We're going to find someone in that city, or we're going to look for jobs. The internet is wonderful. And then I'm going to
Right.
call companies, and I'm going to try to set you up for interviews even where you are. I'm going to do your class over the phone so you know exactly what to do when you get there. I'm going to talk to you about the mock interview processes over the phone so you know. Interview, I got to act like this, I got to do that, and I got to do this. That is important when a person walks in for an interview, is to know how to conduct themselves in that interview. And most of the ones that are coming out of prison, they've been beat down for so long. It's hard for them to realize that I don't care who you are, and sitting on the other side of that table, you are still one of God's children. You're no better than I am. You put your pants on just like I do, one leg at a time. So you have to build
Now,
up their
Miss,
confidence and take it from there.
so are you doing this by yourself, or do you have staff or
I have a lot of
volunteers that assist
volunteers.
you?
I have a lot of volunteers,
Okay.
like, well, they're actually not volunteers. They're doing community service, and they're ordered by the courts to come there. And I have
Okay,
my grandkids. I can't say enough about them. I have them whenever I call on them, they're there.
that's amazing. So it's a family affair.
Yes, yes.
I love it.
They're there. My daughter go to college there, and she had to do a speech, and she did it on Louis Burnett, and she ended up getting an A+. So she was excited about that because she have helped me. She worked side by side with me. She know everything that we do and why we do it, and she know the passion that I have for what I do. It's not a money thing. It's not a money thing. It's all about helping God's peoples help themselves.
Well, that's clearly obvious that it's not a money thing. Anytime you open up your home or you go to the libraries to help people, it's like no matter what, you're going to keep what you called to do clearly, and that's a beautiful thing. Um, so tell us, Miss Lewis, how can people help you, and how can they get in touch with you?
Well, as I said, right now we're looking for some individuals who would be able to help to sponsor us, like financially, um, to help us out with the clothing. You know, um, we have a clothes closet. We help individuals with clothes that don't have it. Then we have individuals send them as far as New York City. They will send boxes of clothes, and we will be able to give them away to individuals who are in need. Also, anytime someone is looking to reach me, they can reach me on this phone. My number is 501-413-2126. I have this phone with me always, all the time. So, again, if they're interested in finding out about this organization, you can just go to Google my name, and it will pull up some stories about the work that we've done and that we are continuing to do.
Are you on social media at
Yes,
all?
I have.
And do you have a website?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, and I do a lot of things on there. I talk to a lot of individuals on Facebook because you reach a lot of people on Facebook, and I tell them about what we are doing and what we are trying to do, and ask for their assistance, because right now we're seeking to go forward in 2020. Back in 2015 was one of our biggest years. We placed on full-time permanent jobs 2,000 individuals.
Wow, 2,000.
2,000, and it was amazing because everybody, they couldn't believe it. The news, the Arkansas Times, the TV station, they couldn't believe it because we're such a small organization. But everybody in there has such a big heart, and we know how to reach folks. So we placed 2,000 people on full-time permanent jobs, and they called every one of them. So the information was correct.
Are you still in touch with some of the clients that you've provided the assistance to? Do they come back and let you know where they are and how your service impacted their
Yes,
life?
ma'am, I am. I have individuals that's been on their job for 10, 15 years that I still talk to. One guy in particular, he works for U-Haul, and we placed him at U-Haul 12 years ago, and he's still there now. He's in management now, of course, but he's still there now, and he calls me every so often, or he'll write me on Facebook and let me know what's going on, and that he is still working and proud to have had a job. For when he came out, he was able to get that job, and he's still there. I have individuals that we have placed in different places like hotels and doctor's offices and the different places that are still there. And they will come back to us and say, hey, I'm still on my job, Miss Lewis, and I tell everybody about you. So that brings on a lot of extra business.
That's amazing. Um, well, I am so happy that we had an opportunity to share this time with you, and I'm hoping that this reaches the ears of someone and the heart of someone who will look at what you're doing and feel compelled to want to be a part of it and support it, not only physically, but definitely financially. Because one thing about nonprofits, and part of the reason why I've started this podcast, is to get the information out there so that people who need assistance can get it through the various resources that are available through nonprofits, but also to help people who may be looking for a organization or a cause to support. They can hear firsthand from that person what they're doing, what the need is, and how they can help. So, with that said, let's say that you wanted to touch the heart of someone listening. What is it that you want them and the world to know the most about Lewis Burnett Agency?
Well, to what I would say is that Lewis Burnett is passionate about what they do. We are an agency that seeks to help individuals help themselves. As I said earlier, we just want to offer individuals a hand up, not a handout. And if there's someone out there that feel that this is a good cause, or if they need more information, I want them to feel comfortable to make that phone call. To, my thing is, this is my ministry. This is God's work. And I'm just one of his soldiers. I'm doing what he would have me do. And that's helping his peoples help themselves. So I guess what I'm saying here is that if someone out there who's listening and think that this is a good cause, then reach someone in your town, your city, and see if you can start something similar. I would be more than willing to help, more than willing. So with that, I say God bless.
Thank you so much. And one more time, your phone number so that anyone who needs to contact you can do so.
My phone number is area code 501-413-2126.
Okay, thank you. And with that said, that will conclude this moment. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for sharing. And be sure and tell your family and friends, especially those in Arkansas who may need some assistance with job placement and are struggling because of a tarnished background. We have someone there that can help you find a solution to that problem.
Anywhere.
God bless you, Miss Darlene. Thank you so much for your time, and you have a blessed
Thank you
day.
so much, and the same to you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye bye. Thanks for joining us on the Black America Cares Nonprofit Showcase. Visit our website at blackamericacares.org and click on our resources tab to link to other organizations offering some of the services we talked about today. We hope today's episode provided you with the answers you were looking for. If not, subscribe and stay tuned because there's a lot more nonprofits to connect with, and I'm sure there's something out there just for you. Thanks for listening.